for Bargain Bead Box. This is going to be an interesting one. So if you've been looking for an interesting one, this is the one. Anyhow, I just wanted to say, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. I am Randy for Thunderhorse Descendant, which is a handmade jewelry and beading company. I say we, but it's really me. It's like me and friends. Me and my significant other and our all-time favorite assistant Shannon are working remotely. I am in North Dakota. They are in Minnesota. We are doing what we can do. I'm here in the green room at Grandma's. So we are going to work on project number 6 today. I'm super excited about it. I've been thinking about the construction in my head. I'm 88% sure I got it figured out, but that's only in my head. So we're going to see if it works. Also wanted to thank you guys for commenting on the last video that we did. If you missed out on that, please go back to the last video, project number 5. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and make a comment on that video to get in for the free drawing of the Johnny Cash themed Thunderhorse Descendant mug that we're giving away. That giveaway is going to happen on the 1st. So if you have not, please go back to project number 5. Subscribe to the channel and make a comment on that video and like it to get in on that drawing. Let's get down to the mat, get this party started. All right, guys, here we are on my beading mat. I have project number 6. So this is what we said we were going to use for project number 6. This is going to be a bracelet project. We have all of the etched glass beads. Crystal glass, I'm not sure. We have 4 snowflakes, a clasp that I had to dig out of the stash because we were out of clasps for that. So that is from my personal stash. It's a hook and eye. And then we have this little bit of the matte Chinese crystals that came in the box this month. I'm hoping that we're going to have enough to get all of our crystals wrapped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle and work my way out. So if we do end up with not enough, then, you know, we'll know. All right. So let me show you about my materials. So now, normally, I would use this Wildfire, and we're going to try to use this. This is Wildfire from Beadalon. It's 0.15 millimeter, and I brought in green. This is all I had in my suitcase was green. Green is a pretty universal color in my personal opinion, so that's why I brought green. So that's what I'm going to try to use. However, I did not bring any beading needles or I didn't bring my thread zapper, so we're going to try to use a cutter and a lighter. I'll have to find that. But I didn't bring any needles, so the only needle that I could come up with that might possibly work from Grandma's house was this little needle right here. So now I don't know what size this is because this come out of Grandma's beading box, but it looks pretty little, but it's not a beading needle. It's just a regular sewing needle, and we're going to see how that goes. And then I dug out of Grandma's stash. If this Wildfire doesn't work, she had some beading thread. Now this seems to be, this is not like a thermally bonded thread. This is a thermally bonded thread. This is like a 100% cotton, 4 cords of cotton threaded together. So this is cotton, 100% cotton thread, which is a good beading thread. But it's not a thermally bonded thread. So I also do not have any wax. As you can see, I'm totally prepared for this video. So let's get this party started, see what we can do. All right, guys, here we are on the mat. This is my Wildfire that I'm going to use. And before we get started, let me show you, I wanted to make sure this was going to work. I tried it a couple of different ways, and this is the best way that I found to get this done so far. So I did make one And then I'm going to bounce off and do the rest so that we can get the bracelet portion of this in the video as well. So here's one thing that I found out before you even watch this video. Once I was able to get the beads on there, and these are going to be laying flat against your skin, right? So that's all fine and everything. But they do have the ability to, because I didn't want any of the string to show. So they do have the ability to fold up like this. I've gone around them quite a few times so that they don't do that. But if that bothers you, like it kind of bothers me a little bit, I have found this guy at Grandma's house. This guy is from Beadalon. It is called Bead Fix. And it's for fixing beads, to glue beads, you know, back together. And I don't know if this is going to work, so stay tuned to the end of the video. We'll make the bracelet, and then in the end, I'll put this on to see if it actually works. But my idea is if this bothers you where these can move and you don't want that, I'm going to put a little dab right here on the top of this bead and just glue this one bead to adhere it to the other bead so it doesn't move. So stay tuned for that. I don't know if it works or not. We're about to find out. How else are we going to know? So for this, I'm going to get, about 1.5 foot of wildfire. I better make it 2 feet just in case. So I got 2 feet of wildfire. And again, remember, I have a sewing needle. So my sewing needle hole is a little bigger. If you need to put it in a beading needle, you're going to take your chain nose and squish this in so that you can get it into the eye. Oh, before we even do that, first of all, the first thing I did is I tied 3 surgeon's knots in the bottom of this thread. So if you don't know how to tie a surgeon's knot, I'm leaving a little bit of tail. I'm going to leave about 5 inches. And I'm just going to make a circle like this. And I'm going to put this tail through like you normally would for an overhand knot. And then I'm going to put it through again. So you have 2. And I'm going to pull that. That's 1. Then I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Now here's the tricky part. Pulling it down, make sure you get it over the top of your other knot. Okay, that's 2. And one more time, just for safety. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so we make sure that knot is in place. Now, normally when I do these types of projects, I don't tie a knot, and that's what I did the first time. And that didn't work out so good because everything was really loose. So I don't want to do that this time. And then I'm just going to thread my needle up. And using just 1 string, that's what I got here, just 1 string with a loose tail on this side. So first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your bead, let me get those out of the way. You're going to take your bead, you're going to put that on there. You're going to put it on there, you're going to make sure that your knot's going to hold down here at the bottom, which it is. And you're going to put on 7 of the little crystals. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got a little short needle. 7. Okay, so here we are. This is what it looks like. So you got your larger one and then your 7 little ones. And what we're gonna do is really easy. We're just gonna take this and they're gonna go around this way, and then we're gonna go down through where the knot is. Okay, so we're gonna pull that, And I left this tail on here so that I would have a little leverage to kind of make sure it's in place. You don't want to pull it super tight, but you want it to be snug. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle over here and I'm just going to go back through those beads to kind of reinforce them. So I'm reinforcing. Now, if they're loose right here, don't worry about that, because you don't really get to tighten them up until you get around here. You're going to go back through the bead. Okay, and then now with that leverage tail, you're going to kind of just snug them up a little bit, you see. So this is one half of the bead. We're going to do the same thing, the other side, and put on 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So this is what it should look like. My tail is down here on the bottom. And I'm going to spin those beads around here. I'm going to go in through the bottom and up through the top. And just pull them a little tight. And then I'm going to go back through here and reinforce. And I'm using the same string. And I'm reinforcing. Till we get back to the first one. Oh, now I got my tail in there. So when you get your tail in there, you just got to get that out of there. Can't be in there. And you're just going to go back through again the middle bead, and then you can grab hold of the tail and kind of snug it up a little bit. Now, this is where I was like, okay, this is great and everything, but these beads are slipping all over the place. I don't like the way they look. So in order to get them to be more cohesive like a circle, what we need to do is go around the whole thing twice. Okay? So I'm going to go, and it doesn't really matter which way you go to reinforce, but I'm just going to start going. And I'm going to pull those beads. So the more you reinforce, I found, the more sturdy and less floppy this is going to be. Now look here, I'm going from one side all the way across now, crossing the middle bead hole. And you're going to see how it snugs it up when I pull this tight, and it makes it look significantly better on this side than on this side. So that's one. Well, no, I didn't get around this whole side yet. Sorry. It's not quite one. Reinforcing it. Here on this side, I'm going to do the same thing. Go across there. You can see where that opening is at. And when I snug it up, we should have a perfect circle. Okay, so that's considered one. So right here, I'm going to keep going for a second time. Now I have this large needle, which makes it a little hard. If you had a smaller needle, it would go through there a lot easier. I mean, this one's going pretty good so far, but sometimes if you're using too large of a needle, you can crack your bead, and then that'll be bad. So don't do that. And then here is where we get our second round going across the hole of this bead. And we keep going until you got 2 wraps. My tail in there. Until you got 2 wraps across the center bead. Okay. So we're almost there, almost home free. Okay, there's gonna be the completion of wrap number 2. You can see when I went the second time how much better the circle is, how much more sturdy it is. So that's really good. So now right here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a half hitch knot. Since I've completed the second round, to do a half hitch knot, you're gonna take your thread, go underneath the beads all together, underneath the beads. You're going to pull your thread out and you've created this little loop. You're going to go through this little loop that you've created. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that this knot that you're making is going to sit in between the beads, right where you made it. Pull it tight. Then to hide it, we're going to continue on, just hiding this tail. Okay. So that's one. Now I am going to tie 2. I'm going to tie another right here. This is just for my craziness with my safety issues. I'm going to go again. And I'm going to hide that as well. Okay. So now I can go ahead and cut this one off as close as I can. Now if you have a thread zapper, use that. That would be better. I do not have my thread zapper with me. So now I'm going to remove this thread from here. Now here with the tail, we've done everything on here and it's pretty secure, but because, you know, I have a thing about security, I'm thinking in my head, we got all this resting on this one little surgeon knot. So just for safety, I'm going to take this tail, thread it on there. Maybe I am. Thread it on there. Nope. Okay. I'm going to cut it off. Then I'm going to thread it on there. And I'm going to take this tail and I'm just going to go in to the bead just to kind of hide it a little bit. I'll go 2. And then I can go ahead and take that needle off and cut this. Okay. So here's what we have. Okay. So that is one completed bead. Now, like I said, these do have the ability to move. Now, if that doesn't bother you because they're going to be laying flat on the bracelet, then don't worry about this glue situation. But I figured I'll just do the glue situation for people whom that might bother them. So I'm going to go ahead and do up the rest of these. I was going to make another one, but if you have to watch it again, go ahead and just rewind a little bit because I want this video to be too long. So I am going to do up the rest of them, doing this same situation with the bead, and then we'll put the bracelet together. Hi, Randy editing Randy here. So I just want to put this in kind of more towards the front of the video in case somebody's like making it and runs into these issues like I had. I don't want you to be like, oh, I did all these things and now they're not going to work. So I'm going to flip you down to the mat just to show you that I only had enough beads for 3 of the circle beads. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. 1 second. By the way, this is my view from my bedroom window at Grandma's. Isn't it lovely? Got a nice winter scene going on here. Okay, so here's the dealio. I did up the rest of the beads. Let's get this straightened out. I got the rest of the beads done, and I would have had enough for one more bead, but not enough for the other. So I decided to only do 3 of the beaded beads. just because this is going to be a bracelet. So these are going to function as my like focal beads. So FYI on that. All right, back to it. All right, guys, so here we are. And we're about to get construction underway. Now, I did explain this. I put this in the, like, kind of, probably right before this, I put this, that I only had enough for 3 beads. So this is going to be the layout of my bracelet. Okay. And so I want to make sure that this is going to be enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle, threading them on. I don't even know if you can see this because it's blue. There we go. So today I'm using blue tiger tail to string this. This is a 0.45 millimeter tiger tail beading wire. And to string this up, I'm going to start in the middle. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the middle bead and I'm going to just stick my beading wire through this center bead here. Okay. So I'm just using this like it's a regular bead. I put that in the middle, and here's where I was like, is this gonna work? To put that right up against it. And I can see that there's a little bit of space, and I'm not really in love with that, but let's try it with one of these extra beads we had as a spacer, and then this. See how that looks. So that's what it looks like on there. So I guess it's kind of up to you. I think I will use the spacer bead just because it looks a little more cohesive in my personal opinion. So I guess those spacer beads come in handy. So then I'll put on another, and then I'll put on this bead. And a spacer, and a snowflake, and a spacer. And then here, I just have just one of the regular beads with no beading around it. And that's all I have for that side. Now this is where I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna have too much, I'm gonna have enough. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side the same way, and then we'll assess the situation. All right, so this is what I got so far. Then we have to keep in mind that I am using this clip that I've added from my own stash, and that's going to add about an inch. Where's my froggy tape? I might not have a lot of things in North Dakota, but I got my froggy tape. Let's see, it's going to add just about an inch. So let's see what we got here with this. 5.5, 6.5. That'll actually work out pretty good. Because even though the average wrist length is 7 for women, mine is really small. So this will probably, you know, just fit around my wrist, and then with the clasp. Now, I like to leave space to add, like we can add additional links to this, therefore it could be a, you know, it could fit a person of a smaller wrist size, or we'll add some links and they can have like an extender. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to leave it like this. If you wanted a little extra length, you could add, you know, just in the bracelet, if you didn't want to add an extender, you could add a few more of these spacer beads that we were using to the end if you want to. Okay, so that's always an option, but here we go with finishing it up. So I'm just going to take my crimp bead, put that on there. I'm going to make this really easy for myself. I'm just going to put my crimp bead on, and I'm going to put on my link. I'm going to run this back through my crimp bead. I don't want it super tight because it's got to be able to move in there. But I am just going to crimp it. And I'm going to crimp it. I'm going to run this tail through here, and then I'm going to trim it off. Bring this down, and I can kind of hide this tail in this other bead here. Oh, maybe I can. There we go. All right. So now, you know, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to add, I mean, I could add a bead cover here if I want. We'll see how I feel in the end. Right now, I'm not really feeling like I want to because that's going to kind of just give it more bulk. I don't know if I want more bulk. We'll see. And then on this one, I'm just going to put my crimp bead and then through this little hook right on there. Bring it back through the crimp bead. Back through these two beads like we did on the other side. Bring that down. Now here, on this side, since I'm crimping right onto this hook, I want to make sure that this has enough room to move around, and I want to make sure that my bracelet has enough slack in it because, again, it has to be a bracelet. It has to bend all the way around, right? So, I'm going to just make sure I'm good there. I don't want it to be tight at all. That looks pretty good. That slid down. There we go. So I'm going to hold that tight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my crimp up a little bit towards the hook more. Kind of put it in the middle and crimp it. Okay, pull test looks pretty good. And then cut that off. All right, so I do have quite a lot of slack in the bracelet, but again, this has to spin around like this, right? And be able to move a little bit, but it is a little bit loose. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put on the crimp covers, which are going to take up a little bit of space. And I'm going to use those in the bright silver. So I'm going to load those onto my plier, go in here over the top of the crimp bead and squish it. Same thing on this side. Check them to make sure they're closed up good. Now some people like this as a design element to give it, you know, just give it a little bit of something. Okay, now if you had a lot of slack, which once I get this folded over like a bracelet, there really isn't a lot of slack. There's a little bit, but you know, like I said, you need that. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then for an extender, what I'm going to use is, you could use whatever you want. This is kind of a fun part. Like if you had an extra bead and you want to put a bead on the end or a charm, you could. I'm using bright silver, so I don't think I have, oh, maybe I do. What do I have? Do I have any? I thought I had, oh yeah, I do. I have some bright silver twisted jump rings. Now I'm just going to use those. I'm not going to use those twisted jump rings as like to hook onto. I mean, you could, but these are a little smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the 10mm locking jump locks. Oh, I guess I'm going to use a whole bunch of them, I guess. So don't need that many. They just fell out. And what I'm going to do because people are more likely to hook into a larger ring. This is my personal opinion. A larger ring instead of a smaller ring. So I'm going to take these. And Yipper's going crazy in there. It's my grandma's dog. She's yelling at him. And I'm going to lock these into place. Now, I get a lot of questions about jump locks in the comments. And so jump locks are made by Beadsmith. I sell them on my website. My website isn't open right now, but it will be here on the 1st. And they lock into place once you get them closed. And they're made of a heavier duty gauge wire. And I just really like them. So I'm just building up this, strand here. Using the twisted jump rings as kind of like a decorative element. The dogs are fighting, I guess they said. I might do one more. I don't know who's here. Somebody must be here because the dogs are fighting with each other. Okay. So get those closed and make sure this locking one is closed. Now, if you wanted to put a charm or something on here, you definitely could do that. Oh, it's my cousin Kennedy. She must have brought Cash. Her dog's name is Cash, after Johnny Cash. I don't know if you caught that. So now, let me zoom you out a little bit. Here's what we got. Now, sometimes with these, I found you kind of got to stretch them a little bit, but other than that, we're good to go. So you could have, this would probably be a 7 and maybe even a little more. You know, so you could add a little more if you wanted, but this is pretty good for me. And then on this situation, I said, stay tuned to the end of the video to see if this glue is going to work. So I've never used this glue before. I'm going to do it. Don't mind this. This is a lotion, but I don't want to get glue on my mat. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. So this is what I got. So I'm going to put it on top of this lotion. I'm going to do the middle one. Let me zoom in. And it's probably not the best because it's not a white top, but this is what I have. So bear with me. So I'm going to take this glue from Beaded. Now this glue is called Bead Fix, and my understanding is this is supposed to fix broken beads. Okay, so it feels like a very liquidy glue. It says fast acting adhesive. I assume it's like a super glue. It says it's for beads. Okay, so that's why I'm trying this. If you just have a regular super glue, do not use that, because that's regular super glue freezes beads up, especially glass ones. I don't know if this is going to do that or not. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping not, because it's supposed to be for fixing beads. So we're about to try it out, and I guess this will be a review for Beaded. But here we go. So it says fast, super fast adhesive. So it's supposed to dry up right away. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this a little to the side. I hope you guys can see me here. And I'm going to put just a smidge. Okay. Just a smidge on the edge of that bead. So it looks like I'm kind of letting it go out a little bit. And then I'm just going to roll this back over the top where it's supposed to go. And I'm just going to leave it there. Okay. And we'll see if it works out. with the Bead Fix. It says super fast. So anyway, let me flip you guys over while we're waiting for that to dry, because there's no point in making you watch glue dry, I guess. Anyway, so this is drying up. I'm very hopeful that this will work. Like I said, I've never used it. I did not get this from Beadalon. I actually purchased this Beadalon Bead Fix from a department store here in North Dakota, but it is a Beadalon product. And it came in like a unicarton. Now you can see this. Where's the camera? Down here. It came in a unicarton, and I must have threw that away, because on the little instructions it says read the unicarton for instructions. So anyway, we'll see. So I got that on there. We're waiting for that to dry up. It says super fast, so I'm assuming it should be done. Does it look wet? Still looks a little wet, so I'm not going to mess around with it too much. Give it a few more seconds. So anyway, yeah, so I just want to let you guys know, I just want to let you guys know that we are going to open up Thunderhorse Descendant Etsy shop. The name of the Etsy shop is Thunder Horses. We're going to reopen on the 1st. I'm going to open up the website, www.thunderhorse-descendant.com. That's the beading website. Also on the 1st, and the jewelry website, www.thunderhorse-descendantjewelry.com. So our jewelry is going to be separate from our bead supplies starting the 1st of January 2022. I'm super excited about it. It's been something that I wanted to do for a long time, and it'll make it easier for people who are shopping for beads to find just beads and beading supplies, and people who are shopping for handmade jewelry to just find our handmade jewelry. So I'm super excited. All right, here's our test. This should be done, right? Okay. Okay, let me put you down so you can see. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, here we are on the lotion top. So let me show ya. So here's the deal. I'm moving it. It's pretty well dry. Now I just did enough to do the top and this second one, it looks like. And it's not moving. And so here's the difference. This one has the ability to move. And this one does not. Now, I'm sure if you really tried, you could get it to move and probably bust it off. I don't know. But it's not moving. I'm pretty impressed with that. So I think I will go around the sides, and I will dab on a little on each side so that they stay in place there. And that's pretty good. So great deal on that. Beadalon Bead Fix. Pretty impressed. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was fun to make this stuff. I've always wanted to be able to do this, and I just never figured out how to do it. But now I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. So hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you're having a wonderful, spectacular, amazing beading day. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.